And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending to where you are. Welcome to our live training on advanced color management. Um, Thank you all for joining in. I can see Gary, oh no, Garzon from Miami is here. Taras, hey Taras, how are you doing? How are you? Someone from Lisbon. Oh, come on, guys. You know the score. Say hi in the chat. Where you from? Let's get this, like a, community going. Love to see this. Hello, hello, hello. Just say where you are. Oh, Thomas is with us as well. Hello. Oh my God. Lots of people. Someone from Prague. Very good. Joel and Vilan from New York. Hey, Vilan, good to see you. Radek from Germany. Very good to see you, Radek. Good. Come back, man. It's fantastic. Niraj from India. We had you, Niraj. And Kyle from La La Land. Julian. My God, my God, my God, my God. Our colorist pro community is coming together again. I'm so happy to see you. I'm back in wonderful Los Angeles. It was raining as hell the last couple of days, which is very unusual. So anyway, it was good, just to kind of catch up with lots of things that are happening at the moment. Um, I really wanted to do this training for a while now, actually, ever since we released 1.1, because I was like, just really dying to, show you, how, beautifully it integrates now with Resolve and, how it can accelerate your workflows. Downtown LA is with us. Oh my God, I love it. I just have to kind of keep looking at the chat and seeing what you're saying. Hi. I absolutely love it. And Thomas is with us and Edgar Flores. Oh my God, I love it. Good to see you all, guys. Fantastic, fantastic. Actually, just as we are basically, getting for everybody to join in, I just really wanted to, share with you some fantastic news. And I want you all to meet Nigel. And the reason why I want you to meet Nigel is because Nigel was my assistant back in London. And actually, he was a first person, that I kind of, employed full time to help me develop Colourlab AI. And Nigel was responsible for building all the, training sets that we were using, initial training sets that we were using to train the machine learning. And as I was leaving London, I, helped Nigel get into the National Film and Television School. And I have a, fantastic news, to share, which is that yesterday, Nigel was awarded with the first honors degree from National Film and Television School. He is now like officially, post-grad, colorist, really. And another piece of great news is that, one of the shorts that he's graded is now up for nomination for BAFTA. So all I can say is that I'm super, super happy for Nigel that he's living his dream. And, I always believed in him. I think he's an amazing, amazing, talented colorist, and he's coming up. And you know what? Asa Soul and Jean Paul Clement and Aidan Farrell, and all the other big colorists in London. Watch this space. Nigel is coming, basically. And just, guys, follow your dreams. It's all happening. It's all going to come together. Just keep, working on it. And, I can tell you, Nigel has like a really like a lot of like hours, and he put a lot of hard work into, for him to get to where he is right now. And I wish him all the success now in his professional career, and hope, we're going to see much more of him. So let me now go basically to what we're going to be doing today. What we're doing is we're going to do like a case scenario effectively, right? So I'm going to basically do like a six-part drama. Let's say we're grading a drama, a scripted content, and we need to deliver this to Netflix. And basically, so I'm gonna see how best and most efficient I'm gonna be doing this, and we need to work towards Netflix specification, but also we need to be like a really delivering high-end quality images in HDR in shortest amount of time. You know the score, effectively, right? The whole show that I'm going to be using is basically been shot on an Arri Alexa Mini. And, we're going to, because we're delivering for Netflix, we're going to have to deliver Dolby Vision at the end in P3D65 and PQ1000. And I'm basically going to take you through the whole process, how, I would approach, this job, this type of jobs, from basically, interesting timeline all the way to kind of, getting the Dolby Vision done. I probably won't be able to go into every little detail, because we have a limited amount of time, but you're going to be able to get all of these steps. What we're going to be doing in order to assist us with this work and to be able to work a little bit better is we're going to be using advanced color managed workflow. And, this is basically, workflow where we are using, IDT, CDL, show light oddity method. So basically we're working with kind of, 4 points of color management. And of course, we're going to be grading everything in scene referred color space in order to allow us to output to more than one display. And also the scene referred space that we chose is going to be Alexa wide gamut log C. There's many reasons for that. I won't be able to go too deep into this. Probably this is a kind of a separate, training, just, why, Alexa wide gamut is such an awesome space for color grading. And it's no accident that we chose it as a native space in Colourlab Ai and a look designer. Okay, and basically this is the kind of the basic building blocks of our color management pipeline. So we're going to have always an IDT, then we're going to have a CDL, where, or primary, where most of the grade is going to be happening, a show lot, right? And then we're going to go all the way, to the ODT, basically, that's then going to dictate to where we're going to be outputting to what monitor and so on. Okay. I'm going to be using for color management a look designer. Actually, it is kind of a plugin that actually, most of us use to build looks and design looks, but actually you can actually use it really, really interestingly, as a color management plugin as well. You'll see how I'm going to be doing that. I'm also going to be working with Colourlab Ai to do like some heavy lifting, matching, and so on. You'll see exactly, all of that process. Also, I want to tell you that if you want to follow along, if you haven't downloaded, Colourlab, if you don't have it yet, you can just go to Colourlab Ai and click on free trial. You'll get an email shortly, with download links. And it's fully functional except the export function. So everything I'm doing here, you're going to be able to follow along. You will also get the plugins, the Look Designer and GrainLab. And by the way, these plugins work for Windows as well. It's only Colourlab that is Mac only, but plugins work for Windows as well. Excellent. And just to kind of, before I start, one piece of news as well I wanted to share with you, which is that in a couple of weeks' time, we are doing a color managed workflow class. It's an updated class. Color management is not static. It's moving, it's changing. So we have updated the class and have added actually a whole day to the new Davinci Resolve 17 color management tool. It's actually fantastic. I really, really like it now. You heard me before that I had reservations about, color management in Davinci, but I think, with the 17 release and with the last updates, they made it look absolutely great. Oh my God, Cyrus is here and Blake from Austria. Very good, guys. So I'm just going to play a little video intro and I'll be back. So see. good, very good. Um, I'm going to pretend as a kind of, this is normal that I'm kind of playing in intro videos, but actually I won't. I have to make a comment on it. It just feels like a really nice, we're stepping up a little bit. And I can see George is here. Oh my God. And we have a Juan from Uruguay. Amazing, right? Amazing. Oh my God, guys. It's all fantastic to see you here. So happy. All right, let me now start. Basically, I'm just going to explain the pipeline in basics first. Then we're going to see how we're going to progress. And for kind of this first initial test, I'm just going to be using Isabel, actually. That's the Isabel. And so let's see how we're going to set up our kind of basic node tree structure, before I build a full fixed node tree. I'm going to go here and say this is my IDT. The first node always has to be an IDT. Okay. And then I'm going to go and drop a look designer onto this node. And I won't use it for anything else but just to color manage. And the color management part is here on the top. So basically, I'm just going to go and say, all right, my camera is Ari, and I want to output in Ari. Actually, I don't want to kind of do any transforms right now, or I want to stay in Ari because this is my scene referred space. Okay. So the next node then I'm going to do is I'm going to open a CDL node where my main primary grading is. And I'm really trying to kind of make my look like 80% sit in here or even more. Like if I can make a look completely just in a CDL, that's absolutely fantastic. Then I'm going to, for the whole consistency and to wrap everything to make it feel, like as a coherent, system and to give the camera some sort of identity and look, what we call a look DNA. We're going to be using a showlet here that, again, I'm going to be using a look designer for that. But, as I said, I won't be changing color spaces here. I'm still staying in Arilog C. So I'm going from Arilog C to Arilog C still in my showlet. And then on my ODT level, like on my output level, I'm going to timeline. And the reason I'm going to timeline is because I really want to change that output only once, and it's going to apply to all of the clips. And then here, I'm going to put a look designer and I'm going to say, all right, I want to go from, Arilog C to Rec 709. So this is basically where I will be managing my outputs. Okay. Right now, let's say in 709, and this basically, gives me my basic kind of, management pipeline. And this particular output here is going to be managing my main output, my main SDI output. But there are actually two more elements of color management that we need to bring into this to really be color managed, okay? So like right now we've solved, okay, what's my main time and my main output going to be? But there is two more elements. The next element when we're working in HDR is how we're going to be managing our SDR, because this is really like reality. Even though HDR is our main master, we need to create an awesome looking SDR. And good news is because Netflix is using Dolby Vision and they want us to master Dolby Vision, I will be using Dolby Vision for that. So I'm going to basically at the end of the project show you how, once I did all the grading, how I'm going to be able to actually use Dolby Vision to derive an SDR out of it. But there is a third level of color management. And the third level of color management is actually how to manage your display, like your desktop display, because this, is also part of our job, that we see things well on a desktop. Now, especially that we have to share files more between, productions and stuff like this remotely, desktop image has become more important. It's not just my master display. So for that, I'm going to go into my project settings, and then I'm going to go into color management. And then and as you can see, I'm not using DaVinci color manage method because I'm actually color managing using nodes, which is exactly the same. I just have a little bit more flexibility with nodes than when I'm using, built-in method of color management. And then I'm also going to use my HDR mastering for 1000 nits box because I want to say, in my metadata primarily, hey, I'm mastering for 1000 nits. But my timeline color space and my gamma, I have kind of used this separate color space settings, and the display I'm using at the moment is an sRGB to sRGB display. And that basically allows me to see on my desktop in my kind of preview correct image so that I know, this is exactly kind of how, if I was to render now, this is a quick time, this is exactly what it would look like. So these are like three levels of color management that we need to deploy, okay? And that is, essential. Without it, really, we can't work, and we can't be like, this is going to remove all the guessing away from us. We kind of have to set this up at the beginning of the project and decide how we're going to do this. So perfect. So now we got all these three covered. What I can then do then is then I can, start maybe like basically by building some sort of showlet. And I want to use this opportunity actually to show you what is very specific about Look Designer and how Look Designer works, and how it's been built, so that you actually really get, to appreciate, some of the fine details that went into design of this. So first of all, right now, my showlet is going to stay in scene referred space. And why is that important? Well, the moment I start, so basically I'm just going to go and copy, this particular, look that I just created, so that, you can see what's happening, right? So what my chart, this test chart is actually a Rec 709 color space. I'm just going to change that so that you can see it in a linear way. Okay, so check it out. I'm just going to open it so you see it better like this. All right, so when I am now applying a showlet, right, I am not really changing any gamma. I'm not applying any heavy curves. I let ODT do that and IDT do that. And that is very important factor because, as you know, a showlet has got points and we have to interpolate between those points. If we don't have to do heavy interpolation because, we're not really applying heavy curves, some S curves or something like that. Like, for example, if I was, to do something like this, right? If I was to say, all right, I don't know, like, this is going to be my kind of, you see a strong S-shaped curve. And if you try to build a strong S-shaped curve in a lot, you start getting points moving a little bit more apart. And that starts giving you a little distortions, right? You start basically seeing potentially posterizing, the light starts falling apart and so on. Yet, if I actually work without, if I work scene referred, like, like I'm going to be using here log C to log C, right? I won't necessarily experience that because the points are going to be moving very much, and there is very little chance for my LUT to show me any picture in deformities. Like, it's working really well. Then there is another very important aspect of the way how Colourlab has been created, and this is something that we inherited from film. And basically, as you remember, or if you remember, or if you're not, and like this is this, how film used to work, is that, we would have something called digital LEDs, like a test chart. So you remember Marcy, right? So what we would then say is we would say, hey, this is a gray patch. And as long as you match that this gray patch is gray patch on your print, right, you are going to get correct results. And I kind of wondered, why did we abandon that method? Because it's actually fantastic. It's such a great way for us to control image, like to have some sort of consistency throughout the image. So as you can see, this kind of line here in the middle, this is the line, of my gray. This is this particular gray that I'm using. This is my neutral gray, where my neutral density is sitting. Okay, so what I can do, look, check this out. Even if I go now and apply, let's say, like, 709 to, log C conversion, check it out. My gray doesn't move. It stays constant. So that's a very important, and that's one of the characteristics that we have in Alexa wide gamut log C that actually, that they have inherited from film as well, that we have that neutral density consistency. And why is this really important for me? For several reasons. So first, I can really say to cinematographer, as long as you expose like this, and we don't necessarily say a grayscale chart, we kind of make an agreement to what f-stop exposure we will be using. And then basically I can always say to the cinematographer, as long as your face, as long as your actor, as long as you're exposed in this level, I am always going to be getting this level out, no matter what showlet I apply and how I work with it, we are going to keep it consistent. We're not going to affect it. And that's a very important, it's kind of, looks like a small thing, but actually it really makes a huge, huge difference, to kind of clarity of an image. And then another thing which is super important is this. All the negative and print profiles inside the Look Designer and in Colourlab are designed for that space, or we have adapted them to that space. Okay, so what is happening now is I can just click, for example, on my negative stock and I can put, let's say, okay, this is my aqua. But you see what's happening, like, I even though I apply the negative profile, my gray maintains neutral. You see, my color is changing above and beyond my gray, but my gray stays constant. It doesn't change. I can actually even go and apply print stock. Let me apply print stock now, right? Look, and it's actually really going to apply on top of it a print stock, but my gray never moves, right? And that's a super important part of kind of, those little secrets, to how we are, creating show and maintaining consistency in an image. And, lots of advantages that I think, as I said, like, this could be like a piece that I could, use, just to kind of make a training just on that. I could totally just talk to you forever to why actually these little secrets, that we have inherited from film are really, really helping us, and how we can actually work, really nicely. So you see, what this has as a result in image. I can maybe have some kind of aqua profile here, but my neutral gray stays neutral gray. So basically this gray doesn't really change. And that's really important. So you see, that is kind of, one of the little secrets to, why I like to work in this way and why I'm deploying Look Designer to build all of my showlets. Okay. So, this was great kind of, just as a kind of, just as a beginning, like me just kind of maybe go and find a shot, that I want to use and build like a little, a showlet out of it. I'm also going to show you, I'm using a particular fixed node tree structure for this, right? This is going to be the one that I'm going to be using. Let me just kind of introduce you to it, so to say. Okay, I'm just gonna say just a little bit in the chat. We have someone from Croatia, from my native Croatians. Very good, Josip. Good to see you, man. Very good. Oh wow, and Robert from Zagreb. My God, we have this is what's going on with Croatia. Mark is with us as well. Hello, my God, lots of people. I love it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I think it's going to be a great live training. Let's go. Okay, so this is my kind of, fixed node tree structure that I, choose for this type of project. Listen, this is not something that I have kind of, I could expand this more, but I just want to give you like a starting point. So as I said, I always leave my first node to be an IDT, second node to be a CDL. Then I put the showlet here. Then I basically will trim here. Trim is like something that I do on SDR transforms. What I need to do sometimes is like, maybe I graded everything fantastically in HDR, but then I look at the kind of SDR version. I feel like, oh, maybe I still should tweak it. And I try to make a tweak so that it works both in HDR and SDR. So this is usually where I would be doing that. This is where I put some custom curves. I use them a lot. I really like them. This is when I'm working with saturation. I tend to do more than just a standard saturation dial. I like to work with, hue versus saturation curves like these, right? Or now this tool is just a really, I'm falling in love with this one, it's just really, like slowly, the more I use it, the more I like it. It's one of those, right? Then I got to like a qualifier section. I have kind of, created like just a, empty for qualifiers, just in case if there is some parts that need a little bit more attention. I hope not to. I mean, this is, I always call this like a rescue mission, almost like, I'd love to get a look done in kind of my first notes without having to fiddle around too much with every secondaries, but, sometimes we can't, we have to do it. And then here I have a predefined windows, like, so I have a little vignette. I have a little like, circular window. And basically, I have here another circular window. And actually, interestingly, I have, we probably all seen, how Walter Volpato does, fixed nodes, but actually these little kind of things to prepare your windows and just kind of mute them is something that Mark Todd Osborne actually explained to me, that that's the way how he works. And so client says, "Oh, can I have a circle window?" But you just press one button and it's there. I really find it that it's absolutely huge time saver. I can't believe I haven't been using this. It was only like after Mark told me, "Oh yeah, I just muted it," and I was like, "Oh my god, this is a great idea." Right. And then here at the end, what I do is I have some sort of, trim pass node where, I would be like maybe me personally doing a trim pass on a show. Then I have a DOP's notes and director's notes, and so on. And then, I have some ODTs and stuff like that. So, like that is just a kind of, maybe if I need to do some conversion, we'll see a little bit closer to how, I'm going to be using those. All right. So now I have my timeline conformed. I've just prepared everything, to look like, some sort of Rec 709 look. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to move into Colourlab. Okay. Oh, sorry. This is installing, Linux. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do this is I'm going to just press here Resolve Fetch button. Boom. And then bam, bam. And automatically my timeline appears in Colourlab. I say done, it perfectly recognized what camera it is. As you can see, basically Colourlab is just managing. You can't even bring stuff in without not telling it what it is. So all of those things that I showed you, right, that I showed you in Davinci, all of those color management elements, they all exist here as well. Okay, so look, in my shot setting, camera profile is nothing else but IDT. Okay, with kind of one advantage here that I have, which is that I have a ability to do some gamut limiting. And the reason why you want to have this gamut limiter is that sometimes, your looks, your show lights wouldn't really, work with those, big LED lights. Usually we get a problem with LED lights or some bright brake lights or some sort of light source that is just so bright and saturated that actually is giving you distortion, right? So we have a tool here to fix that, and we can just basically switch on that, and it's just gonna basically allow you to do this. By the way, I have a same thing now here in Davinci Resolve, right? Where I can actually go if I'm using this here in IDT, right? If I put this as my IDT here, I can then actually, go and set it up so to, have some gamut limit here as well. So this is what I have a same functionality. Everything I'm showing you, like in Colourlab, I can actually do in Davinci Resolve via the Look Designer plugin. Okay, so then basically the next step for me is that I have printer lights, and I always fancied an idea of having printer lights, a tool that is like it used to be back in the day when we used to do print, so that I have a full control. I can basically go and do all the adjustments that I want, And also what I did is I have connected, this particular panel to my Stream Deck. And then, I can just easily on Stream Deck just type in and change my printer lights. And what's really cool, for example, look, these printer lights, by the way, are 100% exposure accurate. So I can then just go and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm basically like, I know I'm in a stop value now, right? But also what I can do is if I press shift and I click on it, I go in a small increments, half a point, or if I press control, I go in a quarter increments, right? So it's with the time, what happens, you develop a little muscle memory to how to do it. And I personally really like to do first pass more with printer lights, just not to cut, I like to maintain whatever cinematographer did on set. I don't think that I need to reinvent his or her look. And the printer lights are just really nice for that. They're really helping me just give an image a little balance without, causing image to go and disrupt, to whatever was shot and how cinematographer intended it to do. And that's really important. We want to kind of maintain a lot of thought and work was done when we were filming this on set. And as a colorist, we shouldn't be having to reinvent the image. We should just have to improve it. That's my philosophy, at least. I can, by the way, press tab. And when I press tab, I can just basically move, from, control to control, right? And here, when I'm pressing tab, I can just move, from one controller to another. My next tab setting is color wheels. Now, great news for you guys is that I have now connected a tangent panel to it, and I can then, and we made it very, very nice and soft, by the way. So it works really well. I'm so happy. And, now I can actually do like, some, really nice grading when I want to work with color, with three-way color corrector. I actually think it's a great little tool. All right. The next thing then, also what I really, when I was building this, there was a couple of things that were very important. If I'm, for example, on a laptop somewhere and I'm not really in my suite and I don't have my panel, and I need to do it with the keyboard and mouse, I want this to move smoothly. And you just have to try and see how nice and smoothly Colourlab really behaves, when you're actually moving these kind of dials, right? And actually what's also interesting is that if you press control, it's gonna allow you to like lock yourself to a line, and that way you can be a little bit more, it's easy a little bit to get the complementary tones. So that's another thing. And also, you see, if I want to be very precise, I can just click on these numbers here and just move them very precisely left and right. So sometimes I want to just kind of move it for a notch, right? And say, let me just add a little bit, less blue to the channel. I can just do this. And look, the precision is in thousands, right? And I can just nicely like just tweak my blue channel for a little bit. And that's a kind of, all these little tricks that colors really needs, that I just felt like I really need these tools to behave in a specific way in order to get, the precision that I need. Also, by the way, we have a contrast here, and there is and if you want to work film mode, right? What you can do, you can press B on your tangent, right? You go to the second mode, and the B mode is going to work like film. So it's going to give you offset, right? On the first wheel, it's going to give you contrast, right, on your second wheel. So you can basically just work with contrast, and it's going to give you pivot on the third one. And so if you really like a kind of, more like if you come from, baseline, film kind of grading tools, you're absolutely welcome, to switch to that mode and continue working in film mode. I really like it. And by the way, all of these controls are always going to translate into CDL at the end of the day. So it's not going to be something that it's proprietary for Colourlab. No, it is, it's going to work in Baselight, in Blackmagic, Davinci Resolve, Nucoda, whatever system you're connecting yourself to, even to Avid as well. These CDLs that you create here, they're fully compatible with everything else in the industry. And then basically I have here a temperature dial, and also this temperature dial is also CDL kind of, compatible, where I can just quickly just change the temperature and just move a little bit around. Sometimes I don't really want to do a little bit filling. I just kind of feel like I want to warm it up, and I'm just going to do that, very quickly. Okay. So this is now my basically kind of, a basic tools that I have here. Now, here, this top right button, right? Okay, is going to be my ODT, right? This is where I'm going to be like setting up all the different outputs. So this is what, is the last node. And then I want to just show you where you're going to manage your desktop. So if you click here onto Colourlab Ai and you click on your preferences, inside there is going to be like a display color management setting, and you select your display color space to be sRGB and sRGB gamma, which is what I'm using at the moment. And by the way, this is where I also decided if I'm working in advanced or if I'm working in basically, a simple method. Simple methods used most for the dailies, where you basically just have a serial and show that. Right, because your camera is always a camera, so you kind of just really try to, you don't need an IDT and ODT and stuff like that, right? Okay, great. And by the way, I am connected to like, I can be connected. I'm not right now to my, external monitor via any Blackmagic interfaces, so that I can see exactly on my SDI out, what is happening. Okay, so what is really now cool is that I can now start, grade also in Colourlab. In the past, I would be building everything in Look Designer in Davinci, and I still do that. I love doing that. But actually now, what I can do is I have a whole Clourlab section here, and then basically I can just go and apply any one of my Clourlabs like this. I can also say, no, let me actually edit this Clourlab. I can say edit with Look Designer. And then, I can just say now edit original, or I can make a duplicate, and then I can basically say, no, make me a copy, right? And then I can continue then tweaking further, the Clourlab. So you see the Clourlab is also as a metadata. It's not just a baked lat. You can actually build Clourlabs, tweak Clourlabs if you want to exchange Clourlabs, move this into Davinci, import Clourlabs, so you really have a lot of, creative freedom now. But most importantly, you have these tools here, right? You have ability to say, well, let me try maybe a different film stock. Maybe this one that I chose is not maybe the one that I want, right? And what you can do is you can just click on this kind of, let's say, negative, and then I can go into my full screen, right? And it even tells me here at the bottom what film stock I'm using, right? And I can then with the B and N just cycle through different, negative profiles and go and say, man, I think, that this is a good one, but which one? Should we do this one and this one? And because you see the negative profiles are perfectly matching your camera, you're not experiencing those fluctuations like, oh, man, this look is like this look is like that. No, you are really able to focus on what tonality, really this negative is going to give you. Okay, and I say, all right, maybe this is the one I like. I'm just going to say enter, accept it. This is the one I want. With escape, I come out. I can change contrast curves. I can say, well, I want to maybe have this curve or that curve. Like, I can decide, whichever, one feels like a little bit better. So maybe I can go actually for a traditional print curve. Now that is looking good. And I can then decide how much of that print curve I want, right? Really good. And then, yes, you get this that I have a full CMY, space as well. Let me just accept my curve here. And I have a full CMY. I maybe want to just work a little bit more like that, do a little bit offset balance like this, and that's it. So basically I can like do all the fine tweaks, everything that I can do in Look Designer, I can do here, but I just have a little bit of a nicer interface and a little bit more I feel a little bit more freer and creative, when I'm building these looks. Okay. When I'm happy with it, I can just say exit now Look Designer mode, because I really need to kind of exit it and save it. And I'm just going to go and make it. So now I have basically told like, okay, this is a Clourlab. This is a one that I'm going to be using for this. So that's what you need to do. You can then also click on it and describe it and, put any notes, tags, anything you want, so that, you start having a little library of things. I think, that, color grading is a little bit like a DJ. Maybe that you have to have your good tunes that, audience will like. And I also feel that, sometimes I create some great kind of, tweaks and Clourlabs. And I like to start from that. I don't want to always start from zero and go like, oh, randomly. I kind of have some sort of, way of how I want to start. And then I can also tag them. So you see, maybe this Clourlab, I'm going to tag as AHS, which is the name of the project. So when I go into the tag, I have all the Clourlabs available to me there. So it's really useful, to work like that. Okay, so good. We have a Clourlab decided. Probably we had a Clourlab already at the beginning of the project. I just really kind of was dying to show you this, this particular functionality. And by the way, I also want to show you, we have this kind of also shortcut called tilde. And when you move between that, you'll see the progress bar. And I think this was one thing that I was missing as a colorist. That on most systems, you see, when you say, show me like a basically before and after, right? When I say, show me before and after, okay? So I would say, okay, this is before and this is after, right? But sometimes to me, this is not quite helpful, right? I actually, can't see much in this log image, right? So what I really wanted is I wanted an interface that will allow me to switch between, let's say Rec 709 and my Clourlab, right? And we created that with the keyboard shortcuts 1, 2, 3, 4. And usually my left hand, this is where it's parked. I'm kind of, using this tilde to switch. And then I'm using 1, 2, 3. And if I have a little CDL, I would be able to see the CDL as well, right? So basically 4 is your CDL and Clourlab. And you know what? This is so helpful because sometimes when I see what did they have actually as a 709? This. Where's my show? This. Okay, so I'm basically bringing it a little down, right? Uh-huh. Okay, so let me now see what I want to do. Maybe I want to just open my shot a little bit to compensate for it. So let's see now. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay, now I'm basically getting closer to that, so I can see that, I can compare, what they used as a kind of nominal exposure level. I can then look to what my show looked and what the CBL now did to it as well. I can just compare those before and after. And that's so quick. That's just like tick, tick, tick. And I need to do this 1 million times while I'm grading. So it needed to be something that's just fluent and it just really helps me. Okay. And this just makes me faster. I don't have to worry or fiddle around. When I kind of, gel with these little shortcuts, I feel like, all right, I'm just really flying now. By the way, same shortcuts for moving back and forth on the timeline like Davinci, so you don't have to relearn them again. So here I'm going to go and say, okay, this is now my first, let's say, scene. I'm going to press a marker. And marker is going to separate the scenes. You can also bring scenes in from DaVinci, but just for this exercise now, I'm just going to go quickly through all of these scenes and then quickly mark them. So this is another scene. This is another scene, okay, and here I have a test file, so I won't necessarily bother with them. Hey, talking about just really wanted to show you what's really cool is like if I for example go and apply here, a show look, that I just created, right? You can see that basically it maintains, some sort of, S-curve capability, but I need to just change this to be not Arilog C, but the 709, because that's the one I have been using, for this particular thing. And then you can see basically exactly how your curve behave. And you see how nicely it's designed. There is never anything missing on top to bottom and so on. So it really, really, works really nicely. And I have in this show that when I was building it, I have created a little, temperature shift with it. Deliberately, it was part of that look. Okay, so just so you know that usually this is what I do is I would go and test, very quickly, hey, just how my show that is behaving. Oh, beautiful, right? I love it. So this is kind of the way how I can actually, on some neutral material, just really test how things are looking. So let's start now. So first shot, I'm going to apply show light first, right? Let's go now and, just a little bit with printer lights. I'm just going to open it a little bit, I only want to just, bring it up a notch, right? Maybe I want to go into my temperature and, just, cool it down a little bit. I want it to be rather like a cool kind of, morning feel, right? So let's see before and after, right? Sorry, let's see before. This is just a show light and now what I did with CBL. So it's very easy for me to just to check what they are, right? And then I'm going to go and press A. And this is the reason really why I'm moving into this, because I need something to help me, move these looks and, match the sequences. I really don't think I need to do this anymore in 2021. This is my kind of belief, and this is one kind of so working my ass off to make this software work, because I really feel that we colorists don't have to do every shot manually. And look, this is exactly what Colourlab did. So here is your flat 709, showlet, and the match. And look how beautifully it adapted that contrast that we had from the reference, it just made it look really, really, really good. Right. And then another thing as well, that it does, it shows me here actually, what is the best match to the reference. And it makes sense, you see, because it's like an exterior and exterior. And then it shows me what's my darkest. Oh, this is my darkest part, because what we have here is effectively a camera pans. Let me show you what happens. So this is a shot where camera looks like this and then pans onto the driver. Okay. Now, normally what I have to do is I have to go and play shot and play shot. But at this stage, when I'm just going and balancing and just, making a first pass, I don't really have time to play everything. I really want to just go and spot check and make sure things are just really, really working, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and say, okay, just show me what's my darkest frame. Oh, it's still actually holding up. What's my brightest frame? It's still holding up. Fantastic. Okay, let's move to the next shot. Here I'm on the next shot, right? Okay, let's see. 709, show that match. Perfect. I love this look, actually. It's really nice. Let's see what's the worst. to the reference. This one looks fantastic to me. What's brightest shot? Oh yeah, it's peaking a little bit because that one here. You know what? Because my brightest shot is peaking a little bit, let me just bring down a little bit. I'm just going to go on my tangent and just bring down highlight, just a little bit on this one so that I can just, kind of get that. Oh no, sorry, I'm in a contrast mode. Sorry, my bad. I'm going to go now and just bring a little bit my gain down, just to be safe. I don't really kind of, want to come, upset anybody. I'm just making a first pass. That's better, right? And then let me see, my best reference is this one. I'm going to open them a little bit, I'm just making small tweaks. All righty, perfect. Okay, and that's really like, now here this is my Clourlab look. Let's see how this scene is going to match. So basically then I go scene by scene and I just, and you see how much quicker, and when you use this a little bit, right? You just become used to it. You just really kind of know, what shot I need to select as reference, what kind of works, what doesn't work, what's going to match, what's not match. The consistency is just really improving, right? Look at this, 709, just a Clourlab and my match. And it just nicely opened it up because it needed it to match it. You see, it brought the blacks a little bit, so we have a detailing there. Again, let me see, how's everything looking here? Best reference, my darkest frame, excellent, looking like this. It's actually an amazing movie. Like, it's called 100 Streets. It's shot by Philip Blaubach, an amazing German cinematographer who lives in the UK. I have really, really loved working with him. He's really good for this episodic stuff. He knows how to shoot fast. But he shoots very cinematic. Like he's great for that. He does a lot of TV shows. I really, really like him. And then you see, this is my other shot. What's my darkest frame? Not much really problems here, before and after. Thank you so much. You see how it fixed that kind of burned down highlight for me, so I don't have to do this. That's one dial less to move. Oh, now I'm coming here. Let's see what's happened here. So basically it kind of brought that highlight reflection down, but you know what? I'm going to open it and I'm going to use my darkest frame for this. So I'm going to go park on my darkest and I'm just going to open it up a little bit. Okay, then let's go to my brightest. Perfect. So you see, I have just quickly adjusted, exposure on this one. Let's go to this scene. Okay, now this one needs first to have a Clourlab applied. I'm just going to go quickly on printer lights and just open it a little bit, right? And I'm just going to add a couple of blue points just to kind of make it a little bit cooler. And I'm going to go and say match this particular scene, right? So I'm going to go just and do that, and it's going to match the scene quickly for me. Basically, it's probably a longer shot, so it needs to analyze more frames. Let's see what we had. So basically, this is my reference, 709, boom, Clourlab, very orangey yellow. No, that's not the look. Boom, nice, nice. Well done, Colourlab. Actually makes me happy when I see that these things are kind of working. Darkest shot, still beautiful, not a lot of fluctuation, fantastic. Let's move to the next one. I'm gonna go here, a Clourlab applied. Okay, let me just kind of park, to this guy, and I'm actually going to use here more my color wheels. I just really want to open it a little bit, right? And I'm going to use my temperature dial. I just really think I should cool it down a notch, right? It's just kind of should feel a little bit like that, right? So now I'm basically in this position right now. This should be my reference. Let me just see. I like to see like a little bit more face. Like you see that there's a face over there. The more skin I get, the more precision I get out of color matching, And now basically I'm gonna let it analyze. I always had that idea, to play some sort of, elevator music while it's analyzing. So, and then you have this voice like, your match is completed, something like that. Maybe we'll do it in the next version, just to make matching a little bit more fun. Alrighty, so let's see where we're here, flat, 7 and 9, Clourlab, where did it opened it up a little bit. But you know what? I think I need to open this scene much more. I actually think, that this scene just needs to live a little bit more. So I'm just going to go actually and put it whole stop up. You see, 8 points, right? And now I'm going to go and say, hey, do a match again, right? So, and that's a really nice thing about, when you are have a machine to match it that you can actually go and try things out. You go like, didn't work. Let me try something else out. And let me try something else out. And when I'm sitting or when I'm working with a DP, I God, they love to do that. Hey, Darren, can you try now this scene, this? And then you try it. Then you try it. They really are excited about playing. And I think this is what we were missing in the past, that we didn't have enough time to play and try things out. Now we can actually, because, look, so now much brighter. Yes, yes, this is it, right? And now I can say, okay, let me see, just, quickly check how's my darkest looking. My darkest is looking very dark, but still very good, right? Because it's night, my brightest is looking like this. Fantastic, all right? And then here, check it out, before and after. This is just, and this is 709 and all match. Very, very nice. It did a pretty good job. I love the fact how it killed that kind of very bright wall over there. Thank you. I'm just going to go and use this particular frame, and I'm going to open up Gamma just a notch. I just want this to be a little bit like this. Okay. Oh, sorry, that was my printer light setting. Okay, wait, where we go? So I'm in the printer light. So let me go back now, and I'm just going to open like this. You can actually do printer lights on tangent as well, but I like to do them more on buttons. I'm kind of more fan of the buttons, right? So now I graded it. I basically kind of did the first pass. Things are pre-matched, everything's kind of going, nothing's fixed yet, right? So what I want to do is I want to move it now into DaVinci so I can start, doing the rest of the work. So for that, what we're going to do is we're going to now click on our project settings. And by the way, before I do that, I forgot. What you want to do is you want to go to Davinci Resolve, and you want to take your fixed node tree that you created, okay? That kind of, node tree that I applied here. Where did I think I used it on this shot, right? And you want to save this and export it as a DRX file. Okay, so you want to make this basically, like as just a DRX export. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you go then back to Colourlab. Okay, and in Colourlab, you then say, okay, DaVinci Resolve Sync, I want to use custom node tree. All right, and as you can see, I have already imported my custom node tree. You just select, oh, this is the custom node tree. And then you have to specify, where is your IDT going? Where is your CDL going? Where is your LAT going, your show LAT? And where is your ODT going, your kind of last kind of button, right? And also what's interesting, you can also use versions. I didn't need to do a lot of versions now while I was grading, because my, mode that I'm choosing, the perceptual mode, is doing, really good job. So I didn't have to go and choose a lot of things. Usually guys, you'll find that when you're working on some sort of, theatrical content, drama or something like that, that perceptual one is really one that's going to give you most of the times best results. The other model, they work well when you have a, some sort of mix and match of footage, some really crazy stuff. That's kind of where you need to go dig a little bit into the models for more like a, this type of work. You stick to a single model, and that really gives you best results normally. Okay, so I've just, got that going. So I set up, hey, I want to use my, custom node tree. That's done. And then I'm just going to go and say resolve push. Hey, you need to save it out before you export, don't lose your work. Okay, I'm going to do this, CLAI CM3, let's say. Okay, so now it's going to go and create all the CDLs. It's going to do the LATs, and it's going to now go in its background. Now, while this is all happening, basically Colourlab is going through your DaVinci timeline, and it's populating every clip with the exact same settings that I have with Colourlab here. Basically, exactly everything gets moved, and so I'll show you. So now it just finished. I just go back into my DaVinci Resolve timeline, and here we go. Okay, I did one kind of mistake. I actually had to do this before. Because I'm managing on my timeline, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go and export my show as Arilog C, right? Because I am going to manage my output. So I want to stay, when I'm coming out of Colourlab, I want to stay in scene referred. So I'm just going to go and do this push again. So basically what this is just, it's going to do exactly everything the same, but instead of, doing the 709 color space that I was grading in right now, it's going to move everything to be in a log C in my scene referred space, so that my timeline is then managing my output. I don't manage output on my nodes or on my kind of, ODT settings of Colourlab. Now I'm good. Okay, continue. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back, and there we go. Check it out. Every shot, right, has come across, right, with all of my nodes. Look, every shot has got all of my node trees populated for me, which is exactly what I would get my assistant to do for me. I would be like, okay, what I want you is go and match this timeline, match this hour show for me. I want you to go, and this is the show that, and please use this as a reference. This is exactly, and look how much time it took me. I mean, I don't know, like, I was probably showing this for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, right? And this is a huge time saver. And what's really cool, guys, is this, I can actually just, switch the show light on and off, right? All that, I can actually, use the CDL further, right? I'm not really locked into it. I can then continue matching using Davinci, right? And so on. So you get the score. I don't want to like really teach you kind of, all the kind of great stuff that we can do inside DaVinci and how we can then continue grading. But what's really cool is that now basically DaVinci has got my first pass completely done, right? Everything's basically, already positioned on the place where I need it to be. And because I'm working color managed, it's all matching in color, right? And I'm kind of going like, okay, great. Especially this shot, I'm so happy about this shot, right? Because it kind of looked very warm, like I really got this to look right. This one, I really opened this shot nicely. It was a little bit too dark, they probably didn't have enough light when they were shooting this, and it's really nicely matching. Maybe this one's a little bit too saturated. Sometimes I kind of look at it one more time and go like, no, you know what? I want to change this a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into my saturation nodes. I'm going to use my hue versus saturation, and I'm just going to kind of, use this kind of oranges here. Like, this is the kind of the tonality that I feel I need to move down a little bit. I don't want everything desaturated. I only want this particular tonality to kind of come down. And that's what you will see me do. Like, I basically, like, sometimes, just really, if I'm going to tweak, oh, this was good. If I'm going to maybe in this reverse, this one's good as well. So if I'm sometimes in reverse, and like sometimes I want to, especially like when you watch it in HDR, you see so much color. And instead of like changing the whole color of image, I just try to pick tonality that I find is not really the best. Okay, so now I'm good. Looking amazing. Let's go and make it now ready for Netflix, right? Let's go and do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and click here. And then I have already pre-saved my ODTs. They're nothing else but just basically, look designer presets saved as kind of, looks. That's all it is. So basically I have here one which is called LD Netflix. I'll just apply that. And as you can tell, like basically there is already a preset called HDR Netflix, la la la, right? So, okay, that's fine. So I got that going, all right? And now all I need to do is I need to then go into my project settings. I have to tell Dolby Vision, I'm going to be using version 4. I like version 4, but you always need to check if the version 4 is going to be accepted for delivery. It's not necessary that it's across the board that everybody's, accepting version 4. So check on your specs. I'm mastering to P3 display. I'm going to go and enable my Dolby Vision, right? And the moment I do that, Dolby Vision then in version 17 is smart, and it basically gives me an SDR trim of my show straight away. This is basically all kind of, before I did any manual trimming or any analysis, it just put my show automatically into SDR. So I'm going to actually, let Dolby Vision manage this process. I love their tonal mapping from HDR to SDR. It is smarter than anything else out there, and also, like, if I had a license here, I would have been able to go and tweak it further and so on. And that is really how quickly, you can work now to get to like a, a very good balanced HDR master with everything, with Dolby Vision, everything. And that was really my hope. That was really something that when, you know, we were building this tool, you know, that we're just gonna remove a lot of that tedious work of copying notes and, you know, matching shots back and forth and this and that. And, you know, if we could please let the machine do this. And I think we're getting very, very close to it. I think you guys are gonna, you know, like this. Uh, I can actually, David, I can absolutely share my node tree. That's not a problem. I just don't know how best you want me to do it. Just put in a chat, where would you want me to put it? And I'm gonna put it there. So, oh no, you know, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. After the call, I'm gonna update the description in a description of this training, and I'm gonna put a link to that DRX node, so you can actually, you know, do this. And I will include also this LUTs that I was using as well. So if you want, like, and you can try to see how it would work, you know, with your show LUTs, so that you can also like see, you know, how it would look with your own footage. Yeah. Yeah, no problem, guys. It's not a problem. And actually, you know, if I teach, you know, this kind of stuff, this notaries. I think what you should do, you should take my notary as a good inspiration and build your own. You know, we have this kind of great group, you know, on Discord, you know, for people who kind of use Colourlab and do color training and stuff. And you know, we love to kind of share these tips and, you know, people discover better notaries and stuff like this. I think, you know, this is a kind of, you know, give it your own personal touch as well. I think it's a great, you know, way how to evolve. And but totally start with my notary, see how that works for you, and then take it up from there. Uh, yeah, very good, very good. I love it. So, uh, uh, now, now, if I could get $1 every time somebody asked me, is there going to be a Windows version? I would have been a millionaire by now, that's for sure. So, can you really think that there is not going to be a Windows version? Of course not. Of course. You know, we are going to have a Windows version. We are certainly going to do this, but we're going to do this when we come to a stage that we have made Mac version so good that we have built all the features that we really needed in it, and we have completed that part of the development. And then what we want to do is then we're going to say, okay, this is now in a very good state. Let's go and move it into Windows. Right now, application is changing so much with every point release, and you're going to be amazed what's coming out with 1.2. When you see what we're doing with 1.2, you're going to go like, oh my God. So you see, for us to do it in parallel in Mac and Windows, and we're a startup, you know, we're not Adobe or Blackmagic, you know, we're a small company, you know, we can't really do this, you know, and you know, so we can't really develop two applications at the same time. So, you know, you're 100% going to get the Windows version, you know, no problem. In the meantime, get yourself a little Mac M1. It runs amazing. The little Mac Mini. It's amazing how fast it runs, you know. And then, you know, when the Windows version is ready, you can just install it. Exactly. Exactly. Uh, any issues, I mean, to know the post has after final grading and resolve, meaning that they do not need color lab licenses. No, actually, what we did now, it's a very good question. You see, right now, you know, all of the color lab profiles have been replaced with lookup tables. So you don't need any license for this, right? The only license you would need is this license here. But I want to show you something very interesting. We are super compatible with the new Davinci Resolve color management. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace it. Instead of using Colourlab, I'm going to replace standard, basically, you know, what is this color space transform? You know, Davinci, sorry, I'm going to replace it with Davinci's color management, right? Oh no, it needs to be Netflix. Okay, there we go. So look, I can just basically say in my color space transform, I want to be from ARRI Alexa to P3D65 ST2084,000 nits, right? And now I can let the post house then deal with the, you know, transform from, you know, ARRI log C to whatever space they want, you know, using just DaVinci's color space transform as well. So it's actually, it's your look designer is a great tool, that we love and has little secrets, and you see how great it is for building looks and helping you with that. But we certainly cannot operate that you can't open this project without a license, right? This is made so that in 10 years time, you open project and everything's open, even if you never have a license again, like if you don't even ever need it, the project is in a state that, anyone can open it. It's using industry standard color spaces management. There is nothing proprietary once you have completed the job. While you're building it, then you're using our proprietary secret sauce. But when you're finished, it's all open. You see, we're CDL, we're LUT, we're Davinci Color Management compatible. So we really are not trying to kind of isolate you. We want you to be able to work with anybody. That's our philosophy. Great. Luminance mix needs to be 100% on the CDL node. Yes, it actually does. That's absolutely correct. And by all kind of means, you're right. You should have it as a luminance mix. And the moment we apply a CDL, it automatically sets it to 0. You don't have to do it manually. So there was a question from George. So George, you can just basically the Colourlab is going to set it for you, so that basically it is on 0 by default. So you see the CDL nodes get the setting correct. Yeah. So I hope you liked this kind of little live class. It maybe gave you an inspiration to how you can work better. And I'm actually really happy that that we're at this stage. We're going to be bringing so many new like little training videos and stuff like this now, where I'm going to be trying to get even deeper and to show you some stuff. Hit me on the chat down there. Also subscribe to our channel if you like it. And as I said, if you really want to be very good in color management, if you want to learn how you can make color management work for you and not you for color management, we have a course in 2 weeks time. And we updated it. I really like the part of the course where we're building looks. This is my favorite part. And then also, we have a day where we're going to be learning the new management system from Davinci. And also you get a massive discount on all of the software that we're using as well. So I think it's a great way how to get to know the applications and get to know how to use them at the same time and so on. So I think it really helped many people that went through it. I'm pretty sure you can ask your colleagues who worked with us that they have definitely benefited from it. I'm going to see you all next week because we're going to have an amazing event. It's going to be announcement of winners of a training we did in January, February called Winter Look Academy. You will be amazed what happened there and what this is. I won't spill the beans too much. But just to announce you, there is something really, really interesting coming next week. So hope you basically guys have a wonderful rest of the day and hope you liked it. Give me thumbs up or like the video if you liked what you've seen. And I'm looking forward, to seeing you again, I think next week, next Thursday, same time, same place.